Hey, just a quick heads up. Content here may not appeal to everyone. If you don't resonate with what's shared here today, that's okay. We all have our own journey in life, so please respect our shit and we'll respect yours.
Okay. Welcome back to the Own Your Own Shit Show, where we talk about how your thoughts and emotions affect your physical body. I'm Lisa. I'm from Beyond Balance. I'm a nurse, massage therapist, and a mind-body connection coach. And I help women to release pain and stress in their mind and their bodies.
Yeah, and I'm Andrea Coulter. I'm a doctor of medical health counselor, and I'm also the creator of the IOMA healing system, which is a unique system of healing that is based on your thoughts and your beliefs and your emotions and how they are affecting your physical body, and I utilize natural tools to help you release that. So, yeah, last week we were talking about digestion, the stomach, and nausea and vomiting and all those wonderful fun things that go on when your inner brain is out of balance because of your emotions. Yeah.
I jumped the gun.
That's okay.
This week we're going to talk about assimilation and excretion. So that's small intestine and your large intestine. So lots going on.
There is actually a lot of bowel issues that people have, you know, and I think people are really, again, what's interesting is, so I'm going to jump in with the small intestine is, you know, your brain assimilates the external things that we put into our body, and your small intestine actually assimilates the various things that we put in internally into our body and have to digest properly. So the small intestine is where we absorb all of our nutrients that we have just gone from here all the way through, right?
Yeah.
And what I find is a lot of people really don't assimilate their nutrients very well. You know, they're not. So I know a ton of people that you know, they come to me and they're like not doing well, not thriving, and they say that, you know, they eat perfectly, and they're super careful, in fact, which again is a whole nother issue.
Yes.
But they're just not doing well at all, and it's just because their small intestine isn't absorbing the nutrients. And why would that be?
Yeah, it's kind of like what you said, assimilating everything in your life. Are you okay? Can you go with the flow? Can you just let it be what it needs to be? Or are you hanging on to everything that, you know, give me that nutrient back, or that experience of life, or however they want to see it. So that's the thought and belief system right there.
Yeah, bowels in general are, for sure, the large bowel is all about releasing, right? The excretion and the letting go. And we've talked about that before, where lots of people have trouble letting go. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, lots of control. And
yeah, absolutely. And then the small intestine is where we're supposed to be, taking all those nutrients that we put in our body and assimilating them properly.
What did you say about analytical minds?
Oh yeah. So the thing with the small intestine is people who tend to overanalyze or overthink, which I don't know, isn't that most women? Truthfully.
Yeah, it is.
Most women that I know, we all and it's funny, my son's girlfriend and I were just talking about this the other day, about how women's brains are always going in 101 million different directions.
Oh, yeah.
There was a guy, I think, that did a video about this years ago, and he talks about the women's brain and all the different compartments, and I have this over here, this over there, and this, and I can use this at the same time I'm doing this, and all these things are, and then he goes over across the stage, and it's a TED Talk, I think, and he opens up the man's brain box, and it's just empty.
Yeah.
They can only do one thing at one time.
Yeah.
Right? And it's kind of true. And my husband and I talked about this. And, you know, like sometimes we'll be sitting on the couch watching TV and it's a show we're watching, and the whole time we're watching the show, and I'll kind of look over at him, right? And he's, right? And I'm like, gee, I wonder what he's thinking about. And, oh my God, we do this. And tomorrow I have to remember this. And you know what? And sometimes I'll look at him, I'm like, dude, what are you thinking? He's like, what am I thinking? And
I'm not thinking anything.
Yeah, you thinking anything? And he goes, I'm watching a TV show. Like, oh, how lovely would that be?
I know. Oh my gosh, to have space in there? That's not fair. I heard one thing, that women can be having sex and know that the kettle is on at the same time. Like they're always trying to think of the safety and you know.
Well, we know a man couldn't because all the blood has gone right from everything to one thing.
Exactly. Yeah, we're constantly thinking all the time.
Exactly.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, so I wonder what the statistics are on absorption and small intestine issues in women versus men.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
We should research that.
We should. Does anyone want to do that for us?
Yeah, jump in anytime. Exactly.
That's
funny. But we can do it. We can do everything, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where we are.
Yeah.
So again, yes, a small intestine, because there's a lot of issues that, like, one of the big players that I've been seeing a lot in practice with a lot of my clients is SIBO.
Yes.
And I've never heard of this like 5 years ago.
No.
Why is it now?
New. So SIBO is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And so apparently they're saying that there's too much bacteria, hence the overgrowth in the small bowel, which I didn't really realize that. I understood that the large intestine, that's how you...
The good bacteria.
Yeah, it helps us digest our food because there's, that's what it is.
It's true, but interestingly enough, I can't remember what I was researching years ago for a client in particular that was always having these kidney infections, and it ended up that it was an E. coli overgrowth. Now, while I was researching for this, discovered that we actually have E. coli normally in a normal balance in our small intestine. And do you know why that is?
No.
It's to help if we have to break down or assimilate any scar tissue in the body. That's what E. coli does. So every bacteria, even if it's a negative bacteria, has a biological purpose in this world. And so E. coli is utilized in the body. So what was happening is this woman was having these chronic E. coli influxes in her kidneys, but see, when we dove deeper into her history, she had a lot of surgeries on her kidneys. So she had scar tissue. And so at some point in her life, her body was the E. coli was flooding to her kidneys to try to repair and heal the area, but was also causing these infections and pain, obviously, that then her doctors were looking at as a bad thing, when really they were trying to help her. But of course, painfully so. And sometimes that can happen, is you can get a bacterial overgrowth as a way to heal yourself. Like candida overgrowths are trying to protect you from other invaders, oftentimes heavy metals, right? So yeah, candida actually is an overgrowth when you have too many heavy metals in the system, and they will bind to those metals and protect you. Yeah, so many different things that can be going on in your body that are actually protecting you from so many other things. And we often will go in and attack them, not realizing that we're actually attacking the messenger who's trying to help us. Right? So I don't even know how we got so off track with the small intestine.
That's okay. It actually made me think of something that scar tissue, we have fascia on our body, so it's over all of our muscles and keeps everything in, like all of our internal organs and all that. So anytime you have an injury, so it could even be just a surgery or trauma from having babies or anything like that, it creates scar tissue, which can then not allow the bowels and everything to flow and function properly, and even the small intestine too. So that creates poor hip mobility and functionality. So if you're constantly stuck like this, then now you have an anterior pelvic tilt, which doesn't allow your poop, I guess, if you will,
your shit
to actually release, because everything's so tight, and there's scar tissue and there's binding of fascia and everything too. So I mean, even just kind of skipping over to the large intestine, that could be a reason why people are constipated or they have diarrhea, because there's so much constriction in there.
Oh, and actually that's what I had in my notes that I was hiding, is that, and again, oftentimes people don't realize this, is that diarrhea actually stems from the small intestine.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't start in the large intestine. Diarrhea actually is stimulated in the small intestine when there is either overgrowths or things. But again, why are those overgrowths? The body is trying to protect itself from something and or often purge itself.
Right.
So when we talked about vomiting last time with the stomach, is potentially a purge or a need to literally expel something you've taken in that you can't deal with, right? The small intestine, when you get diarrhea, then it's often, again, the lower system trying to purge. Oftentimes, things that you've tried to over process. That you're working too hard or overwhelm in life that you just can't assimilate. Right? And so the body just says, nope, we're out of here. Right?
For sure.
Yeah. So I feel badly for those people who are like purging from both ends. I mean, that's
terrible.
It's got to be an incredible. They must be under incredible pressure.
For sure.
To be having to deal with that kind of an issue.
Yeah, I wonder what they're doing for stress relief, if anything, or if they're just totally overwhelmed in work or something.
Yeah, and that happens. I had a client yesterday, that's what we were talking about, is, she was having where the parasympathetic, sympathetic system was fluctuating back and forth between hot and cold and being hungry and not hungry. Like, so literally in chaos.
Wow.
And so I said, what's going on in your life? Well, you name it, it's going on in her life. She's got relatives that are being forced into homes that they don't want to, and she's trying to deal with that end, and then she's got, this person that passed away over here that she's dealing with them, and then she's supposed to be running her father's or her husband's, mom to her, all of her stuff, and she's got a child at home that does have mental issues, and so she's working with them. And then her daughter, who's pregnant, was sick. Like, all of this stuff was flooding, in her life in the last couple of weeks, and she's feeling like she's literally running in circles and trying to help everybody else.
Right.
And she's overwhelmed. And I'm like, okay, you need to learn to say no, and stop a little bit, and take care of you a little bit, because if you don't take care of you, you'll never be able to
be.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So I think small intestine for women, yes, we overanalyze everything and we are always thinking about a million and one things. It's women.
And I think it stems from the fact that we have another child. We literally create a person inside of us, and now we're completely responsible for this person. So we're constantly thinking, are they safe? Are they okay? Am I okay? Is everyone else safe? Taking care of everyone in the house. So you kind of have to almost be able to multitask and figure out exactly where everyone is and what they're doing. And even though maybe we don't necessarily have to go to that extreme, because we know we're safe now, we're not being hunted by bears and all these crazy things.
Not here in Ontario.
Yeah, exactly. We're safe in the house, but yeah, it makes total sense that there's so much going on in our brains.
Which I think is why the SIBO has overgrown.
Yeah. Because women have more responsibility now, maybe, than they really ever have. Like, we're excelling in careers too. We're taking care of a home. We're taking care of ourselves. Trying to, our partners and families, and really just trying to step on our own and step out there and create different jobs and be the provider.
Yeah, exactly. Like now, exactly, in this day and age, we all have to have our career and still do everything else that we did.
Exactly.
It's still a bad stereotype.
I know,
that we
it's
have.
true.
And so, I think where women are struggling with this SIBO and stuff like that, or just inability to assimilate properly and having digestive issues, is we really need to stop. Sometimes and really take a little bit of self-reflection and take more time for ourselves and not take on the responsibility of everybody else. And, and the one thing I tell all my clients all the time, and I have to remind myself of this too, because I do fall into that same pattern, of course, is learning to say no.
Yes.
And it was interesting, because when I said to my client yesterday, I said, look, it's okay to say no. And she goes, and I've actually been saying no more than I ever have. And I said, however, say no without guilt.
Without guilt.
And she goes, oh yeah, that's a good one. See? So she was standing up for herself and saying, no, I can't do all of that, but she was feeling guilty about it, which is going to affect you. For sure.
It's almost going to negate that no, because it's constantly rehashing in your head.
Exactly.
You're constantly going back to that feeling in that situation.
Yeah, and then the physical body is going to give you the responses to show you this is what you're still doing, right? So always look at your physical symptoms as the symptoms are the messengers of a bigger issue or a bigger state or or event or thing that is going on in your life, that it's trying to get your attention. So as we do these shows, that's really what we're trying to help you to see, is the way we see it when, you know, when things are coming at us and people are coming in with physical complaints.
Yeah.
We're working through not just the physicals. I may give you a remedy for a rash, but really, you know, there's a deeper reason behind that rash. I think the more aggressive rashes you see that come out with particular digestive issues is really the body's way of saying, because of course your skin is your second liver, right?
Oh, yeah.
So when your body is completely shut down and not processing and not assimilating, and you're overloaded with toxins and all of these things because you are not taking care of yourself on a higher soul spiritual level, the body's going to slowly shut down, and when it shuts down, it starts pushing out as a way of saying, hey, whoa, like acne. I mean, there's so many things you can get into, right?
Oh, yeah.
The body's way of pushing it all to the surface to get your attention. It's kind of like a, hey,
wake up after
Exactly.
the 12th time. Trying to tell you.
So when the more angry rashes are literally the body getting super angry with you to make some freaking changes.
Yeah, to own
Your
your
own
own
shit. Exactly. Exactly. So, you know, with your lower digestion, again, you know, you're not going to maybe get the immediate symptoms like you do with your stomach, all the nausea and the vertigo and the vomiting and all that, or even just the whole stomach stuff. It's really obvious, but when you get further into the more noble organs, as Hahnemann called them,
cool.
yeah. What can happen is you maybe don't notice that, well, I'm not really assimilating my nutrients. How would you know that until you start noticing that you're just not feeling good on a day-to-day basis, right? You just don't have the energy that you used to have. And no matter how great I'm eating, I still feel crappy. I still feel tired, you know?
That's right.
It's not until that point that you realize that what's going on. That's when you start to reach out. And at that point, it's gone on for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
The lower
Yeah, so the lower intestine with like irritable bowels and all that kind of stuff. Again, funny enough, is with the diarrhea really is starting in the small intestine.
Yeah.
It's just purging its way through.
It's true.
Yeah, but colitis, which is the inflammation of the lower bowel, the one thing, and this is a hard one, so because this is a big issue, there's a lot of people have colitis.
For
right?
sure.
And colitis is when you truly stop taking responsibility for yourself. It's a hard one to explain to clients, but it's getting them to recognize that they've given off all responsibility because out of whatever, fears or uncertainties or true lack of a sense of true self, they have given up on, because it feels like life is always shitting on them.
Whoa.
So they give up and they give away their power. Right? And so when they do that, the bowels become inflamed as a way of being enraged about all this injustice on their self, and that's where it becomes chronic. And so the only way to truly overcome that, I mean, you can do all the nutrients, you can do all the meds, you can do whatever to help fix it physically, but if you don't take ownership of your own shit and take responsibility and feel empowered with yourself. It's about empowering yourself and taking back the fact that you have a free choice, you have free will, you can make your own choices, and it doesn't matter if you screw up. We all screw up. That's just life.
Exactly.
Right?
That's when you learn the best lesson.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's hard in the moment, but you can't learn unless you struggle through something, right?
I know, and what I like to say is the best part of being an adult is you get to choose.
Yeah.
You get to choose. Like, you get to be the creator of your life. You get to dream whatever you want and then potentially create that dream and make it reality.
Yeah.
So in essence, this whole show really is about own your own shit, large bowel,
Exactly.
everything.
Yeah. The other thing I learned about, just a quick segue before we wrap this one up, is, because this was always a big one for me, is large intestine is the unconscious world. Right? And one of the things I learned, and again, I don't know where this came from, somebody told me this years ago, and it really resonated with me, is that we store our secrets in our large intestine.
Ooh, that's deep.
It is deep. And even the secrets about ourselves, even the things we're afraid to face about ourselves, which creates the chronic inflammation, because we're storing it and hiding it and storing it and hiding. And you can only hold things for so long before eventually something's going to explode. Literally.
Hopefully not. Not walking down the street and people around you.
How many people have had that though,
Yeah.
right? Where you're like, oh my God, I gotta get to the bathroom.
I gotta go.
Yeah, now, right? And so think about
Wow.
that. You know, is there something in your life that you've been hiding and burying deeply for a really, really long time? And is it maybe time to face that?
Yeah, and no judgments,
No,
you know.
absolutely.
You
We're only human.
Well, exactly. Like if you have a journal or something you like to write in,
Yeah.
you know, maybe that's where you're going to store some stuff, or write something on a piece of paper and then burn it so
Absolutely.
that nobody knows
Exactly.
your secrets. But at least you've let them out. You've let
Exactly.
them go.
Exactly. Or at least try to recognize them. You know, start and maybe they're so deeply hidden that you're like, I don't have anything.
Yeah, don't even know. You just got to start
Exactly.
peeling back the layers a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Start to be a little more attentive, and maybe search out a practitioner that can help you. You know, peel back those layers so that you can finally resolve it once and for all.
Yeah, because it's a bit scary to dive deep into that kind of
Absolutely.
thing, but
Yeah.
it's necessary. Otherwise, you're going to keep getting symptoms.
That's right. And you know what? We're not really here to be in pain.
No.
You know, we're here to enjoy life and to make the most of it. And
Yeah.
yeah, sure, we're going to fall down and skin our knee every now and then, and we get back up and it'll heal. You know, we take care of ourselves and move on.
Yeah.
That's
and
what I like about it.
Exactly. And try not to wrap too much emotion into every experience, too, because that's when, you know, if it's a negative emotion, then that's when we can't let that go, or this person's hurt me and all of that. If you can kind of just be okay with the experience and then move on.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And what I would say is, you know, okay, if something has affected you, so she says something and it made me angry. Well, she didn't purposely say that necessarily to make me angry, but it was my choice to be angry.
Yeah.
Right? It was, why was I angry about that? Why did that comment stir something up inside of me? Because there's something inside of me I'm hanging on to.
That's right.
And so regardless of who it was that said it to me, it was going to stir up something that was in mine, and that's my shit to own.
That's right.
Yeah, so, you know, taking responsibility for owning my own shit. You know, if I choose to feel a certain way, it's my choice to feel that way. And it usually stems from, you know, my own life experiences and the things that I need to be working through. And so that's what this is all about, is, you know, helping you recognize how do you own your own shit? You know, how do you take responsibility for your own life, your own thoughts, your own feelings, your own actions, you know, and recognize that, you know, you are a very empowered person.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. And so that's what this show is all about. And so we hope that you stick around and, you know, continue to join in our conversation. We've been enjoying doing this. We have no idea where these are going every week. So we hope we're entertaining, but informing you with some really cool and interesting information.
Yeah.
Anyways, so for sure, take some time and subscribe. Please share this if you know somebody else that would think that this is worth listening to. And as well, leave us some comments. You know, we want to know, is what we're talking about, did it stir something up in you? Did it make you think of something that you maybe hadn't thought of in a long time? And it created some thoughts and emotions that, you know, maybe aren't so joyful to you. And if that's the case, then there's something there that you should be kind of maybe looking at. And to reach out to us and ask us a question, share, you know, what you're thinking, and or if there's something that we haven't discussed, please, you know, let us know what you want us to discuss.
Yeah, we'll talk about anything.
Absolutely. We'll talk about anything. We just want to, you know, help you to own your shit, and we'll own our shit, and hope you have a fantastic day, and we'll catch you again next week.
Yep, own your own shit.
Absolutely.
Don't forget to connect with us on your favorite social media sites so you can share your whole healthcare woes, wins, and other shit you'd like to discuss with us.
I'm trying to hide my notes.
That's very good.
What did we talk about? Stomach.
Oh.
Yeah, digestion. Oh, you're right.
I know.
All right.
That was really good.